Eastdil Secured, originally Eastdil, has been through a lot of evolutions over its history, starting back with Ben Lambert, kind of a tiny private shop, and through all the evolutions up to today. And you've pretty much been on that entire ride, and a lot of it in a very senior leadership position. What do you learn? What did you learn about strategy and leadership as it evolved through those various parts of its life?
Well, the greatest strategy in the world is survival at the end of the day, and it's about surviving, adapting, and advancing at the end of the day. And kind of our mantra as a trusted advisor is to be calm, assess the challenges, look at the risks, be honest about them, and then look for the opportunity. And in every case where we've gone through a major downturn within the economy or within our industry, we've tried to apply the same principles that we give advice to others to maintain. We try to give to ourselves. And candidly, if you can't give yourself that kind of advice, you shouldn't be dispensing it to others. But for us, in 1980, when the firm, which was originally part of Blythe Eastman Dillon, which obviously the name Eastdil came from, was sold, the firm Blythe Eastman Dillon merged into Payne Weber. And at the time, they had a unit that was not dissimilar to the unit of Eastdil Secured. And so we ended up, Ben ended up buying it back from Blythe Eastman Payne Weber at the time. And ultimately, we went our own way. Well, we didn't do that and buy it back because it was a good time to be buying it back per se. It was because we weren't going to get anything we didn't think measurably better in terms of the ability to be able to serve our clients than we already had. So we needed to have the flexibility to be able to do that. And then in 1986, where we had seen this burst of capital coming in from Japan, we were approached by Nomura Securities, which at the time was the largest securities firm in the world, and they were looking for product to distribute in their home market, but they needed structuring advice and they needed expertise around real estate. Well, we thought we had literally died and gone directly to heaven, first class, flat seat, international, if you will. And the idea is that we would find, the best-in-class partners to capitalize their projects with, in essence, securitization products that would be distributed to their high net worth and institutional clients. And we were the global, if you will, real estate investment bank for Nomura Securities, which, if you recall at the time, was actually the largest securities firm, financial services firm in the world. And so we were ecstatic about that opportunity and had no visions of it ever changing. We were relatively independent. They owned a 50% interest, but we maintained control. And we pursued our path. Well, along came, the big crash, the bubble bursting, if you will, in Japan. And candidly, they ended up having to pull in their tentacles and came to us and said, listen, we can't continue to do this. We've got to take care of our domestic challenges. Would you please figure out a way to, in essence, buy our interest back? And so it was as a result of that change in the counterparty and they're in essence not being able to contribute anything further to deliver to our clients. So we bought the company back. And then in 1998, where life was just beautiful, 97, 98, until it wasn't anymore, we knew that, again, in the art of and strategy of survival, that we needed a port in the storm in case the markets turned upside down, because you can't give good advice if you don't exist. And so we began to think about ways in which we might be able to bolster our capital structure and to maybe partner with someone who could give us more that we could deliver to our clients. And at the time, it looked like it was going to be Bank of America. And then, if you recall that fateful May weekend when Bank of America merged with Nations Bank, Wells Fargo merged with Norwest, and City and Travelers merged. It was literally over the course of a 7-day period, 2 on one weekend, 1 on the next. And we literally were at a point in time where we thought we were, going to make that deal. And, the winds went their own way. And then late summer, actually end of August, LTCM hit. Remember when Genius failed?
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah.
And the smartest guys in the room didn't anticipate something that was going to go outside the second derivative, if you will, of their models. And notwithstanding the fact that they were Nobel winners, they didn't calculate that meltdown. So we were nervous, needless to say, because the storm came before we could find the port. But along came Wells Fargo, who we had a 30-year common law marriage and had done things with for eons. And they basically said, hey, look, we've managed through our crisis pretty well. We've got this Norwest partnership now. And we think we could bring something to the table. As you recall, they were at the time just a regional bank. They had total assets of about $220 billion, and they had about 20 billion in real estate loans. And they said, we think that 1 + 1 could equal 5. And so we then embarked upon a strategy. They bought the firm at the time. And we decided that we were going to go out and be able to deliver to our clients something that we never had before. And that was 1998, 99. And again, the idea was to build our firm so that we could provide better advice to our clients and be more relevant. And so each one of these turns, if you will, was a turn around trying to do the best job we possibly could for our clients and maintain our core focus, the North Star, if you will, around that. And then we had the opportunity, we saw that the markets were changing and that they were very frothy back in 2005, 2006. And we thought that the market might crack. And if they did, we wanted to be part of a team that had expertise in the NPL and distressed debt business. And
To that point, Roy, you had been much more equity focused rather than the debt, and secured had been more the debt.
did that and the distressed debt business, correct. So we figured that that combination was hand in glove, and then in the end, as it turns out, and we merged in, Wells Fargo was able to, in essence, capitalize that merger. And what came out of it was not just a combination of collaborative and complementary skill sets, but also intellectual capital that came along with it, leadership that came along with it, that candidly was a generation even behind me. And 1 + 1 literally equaled 3 at that point in time. Well, the market didn't crack the way we thought it would, and the government took over a lot of things, but the market cracked in the securitization business, and we were there to kind of pick up the pieces. So from 2010 through 2015, we did $93 billion of distressed debt that ultimately pushed us into the forefront of understanding not only capital structures, but having the product that our clients were looking for. And then in 2006, Wells Fargo ended up buying Wachovia, and with that, they merged the real estate investment banking and distribution business to Eastdil. And now we had kind of the full suite, if you will, of capabilities. And when you think about giving trusted advice, you really, there's a bias around what you're best at, and some people more cynically might suggest that there's a bias around where you can make more money. And the only way to counter that, candidly, is to be an expert in everything that you do and every possible outcome that might come along with it. And so this gave us the ability to really provide an end-to-end public, private, debt, equity, domestic, offshore combination that could truly, give clients the best advice without a bias in it. And so that was kind of, then the launching point of, what is now known as Eastdil Secured. And when you think about then those transitions, and you ask, well, what is the common theme in all those things? One, you're building towards a better platform for your clients, and two, you better have cultures that match. because if you don't have those cultures matching, it doesn't matter whether you have the complementary skill set, because you'll never end up driving a collaborative environment like we have, which is, the unique aspect of our culture. And then, obviously, along came some of the challenges that the financial services industry faced, and with the regulatory environment, some of the technology limitations that were put upon us, notwithstanding the fact that we don't manage, accounts and the like, but we were under the same scrutiny as, what was now a $2 trillion financial services company, and there were severe limitations, firewalls and the like. And so we, in a very amicable way, and they had said from the beginning, look, we don't want to change your culture to the extent that our culture hangs over yours and impedes the way you do your business. Please let us know. We raised our hand, and we negotiated a very amicable exit, with them continuing to own a piece of the firm in a minority stake, which is what would work for them. And we brought in new capital that ultimately gives us the ability to stretch more internationally, and in particular with Temasek, the bridge to Asia, and into China specifically. So each one of these transitions, candidly, and people often joke, boy, Eastdil always sells high and buys low. The bottom line is our counterparty changed, and it was an opportunity for us to be able to actually supplement, build, adapt, and advance, what we do, by
There is a kind of consistency in its evolution that's not obvious to the outside.
no,